Yesterday was the third reading of Parshas Vayetze. Jacob worked day and night, in the heat of the day, in the cold, in order to marry his beloved Rachel. And at the end of those 7 bitter years, where he devoted all of his energies to his future father-in-law Lavan, uncle Lavan, Lavan, at the very end of those 7 years, what was his reward? His reward was removed, was taken away from him. Instead of Rachel, Lavan had him marry Leah. Now, Leah was a fine woman, but she wasn't the one that Yaakov worked and slaved for 7 years. Another man would have created a scene and a fight, and perhaps someone would have been injured or perhaps killed. Instead, Lavan told Jacob, Yaakov, that he was going to give him Rachel after a week of celebration, and if only he would work another 7 years, another 7 bitter years, to marry the woman you wanted. Yaakov saw what was happening, and rather than create strife, accepted the situation and made the best of it. And he married his beloved Rachel and kept Leah and worked another 7 years. And the Torah describes the fruits of those 7 years. That Leah, the woman he did not want, she was the one to provide him with most of his children. And not only was she to provide him with most of his children, the main tribes of Israel come from Leah. And of course, in today's reading, ultimately, Rachel gives birth to Yosef and then to Benjamin, Binyamin. And Yosef is the power and the force that not only saves Israel, but also allows us to overcome our most mortal enemy, which is Esau. Nonetheless, the Mashiach comes not from Joseph. The Mashiach, the Messiah, comes from Yehuda, and the priests come from Levi, who are the children of Leah. And so we must learn from the events that have taken place and learn something from them. The immediate reaction of people who are reasonable is that when there is danger and difficulty, we go away from that danger and that difficulty. An ordinary person would have left Laban, either with Leah, without Leah, with Rachel or without Rachel, but would have said, good riddance, I can't deal with such a swindler. In our situation, when we see danger for doing good things, for survival as Jews, for survival as the emissaries of the greatest tzaddik of our generation, when we see danger such as this, the natural reaction is, why do I need this for? Let me go away to a safe place in a safe environment. Let me be among friends. Let me control all the things around me. But that's not what Yaakov did. Yaakov confronted his tormentor. And in confronting his tormentor, two things happened. Number one, he was far more successful and flourished far greater than he would have had he left. And in fact, apparently, had he not been so deceived, and he would have married Rachel, Rachel would have been just as barren. And perhaps he would have only wound up with the 2 children that they had. Instead, Yaakov wound up with 12 sons and 1 daughter. And so, the events that took place, even though they were terrible events, caused the expansion and the flourishing of Jacob's family, Yaakov's family. And we have to take that to heart, that the events that are so tragic and difficult for us to comprehend will actually bring an expansion and a blessing to all of the holy work that Rivki and Gabriel Holzberg were dedicated to. But then, in today's reading, there comes an additional dimension. Not only will there be a greater abundance, but the very element that drove Jacob into exile to begin with, which was the fear of his brother Esau, that element has now found its antidote, its opposite, the power to negate the force of Esau, the force of his older brother that chased him away from the Holy Land to begin with. The force that will bring Jacob back is the force called Yosef. Yosef the righteous. And Yosef is the antidote. He is the power that destroys Esau. As the prophet said, that the house of Jacob will be a flame, a candle, a torch, but it needs a spark. What is the spark that will cause the torch to become inflamed and to destroy the straw that is, the straw man that is Esau? That's Joseph, Yosef. The purpose of our shlichus, of our mission, every Jew's mission in life, every person's mission in this world, is to make a better world for Mashiach. And there are those who are dedicated to destroy those efforts. And in today's reading, we are assured that through the efforts to destroy the works of Jacob, those efforts will actually give rise to the birth of the power that negates the source of the exile. It will actually reveal the power that will bring mankind to its ultimate goal and ultimate fruition of the desire of God. We cannot bring back Gabriel and Rivki physically, but their souls are with us, and their power is with us. And not only will their souls bring us great abundance, but their souls will also bring us the power that will destroy those very elements that snuffed out their